Hi, everyone. I'm Reverend Nikki Happy, the Director of Marketing and Engagement at One Spirit. And I am sitting here today with Brooke and Miko to discuss their upcoming workshop. How are you both?
Doing wonderful.
Doing well, thank you.
Great. So if you can both introduce yourselves and share a little bit about what you do.
I'm Brooke Lavalle, use she, her pronouns, and I'm calling in from Brooklyn, Lenape land, and I'm the co-founder of Courage. And I get to work with a team of facilitators every day, like Miko, holding space for folks who are doing the kind of relational tissue tending of our organizations and our movements. So that's how I spend most of my time.
My name is Miko. I am one of the facilitators at the Courage of Care Coalition team. And so support with doing different various workshops and also specifically support with some of our BIPOC affinity and LGBTQ plus affinity groups.
Welcome to you both. So what was the inspiration behind this workshop for One Spirit?
At Courage, I'd say that our work really centers around supporting and nurturing the heart of our organizations and movements for justice. And that also means supporting, nurturing, lifting up, helping heal the folks who we see as the relational tissue workers in our movements, our healers, our counselors, the folks people turn to when there's difficulty, the folks like literally stitching together our work. And so this workshop is envisioned in a way for those of us in those roles. And we could be officially parents, educators, spiritual leaders, teachers, and so on. But for those of us really trying to sustain the work and the life force of our movement. And the weekend, in a sense, is an attempt for us to lean into like what we call at Courage, the both end. How do we really show up to the suffering that's present and not turn away from it, but develop a kind of courage to be with it? And also to sense what else is here, like what kind of joy, what kind of generativity, creativity is also present, and how to lean into that as a way to help nourish ourselves and also to sustain us in the movement.
Can you walk us through what the workshop will be like for participants?
So we teach a model at Courage we call Courage Rise. And it's a trauma-informed, contemplative, and somatic-based counter-oppressive practice. And all of our workshops are highly experiential. We like them to be playful. We'd like them to be deep. We like them to be restorative. We'd like them to be restful. But all of them kind of center in this model. And it starts with a grounding in a field of care, of courage, because we sense that the more we feel connected to source, to network, to earth, to land, to people, the more we feel empowered to show up or to rise. And then we'll move through a collection of practices that help us lean into revealing truths, to centering or investing in healing. So practices for rest, repair, restoration. And then practices for sensing alternatives, what else could be, so sensing creativity, and then embodying that work. So really kind of grounding in our intentions, commitments, coming back to that in our work together.
And so what would you consider to be a relational practice? Can one of you give an example?
We like to say at Courage that anything that helps us soften our sense of separateness, so like our sense of interdependence, our sense of connection, our sense of warmth or love, like anything that does that, a reflective practice, a contemplative practice, walking outside, doing service work, connecting with neighbors, like anything we consider practice. And one of the ways that we like to introduce folks to that as like a sense of being held in care is by calling up a moment of connection, a moment of connection in nature, a simple moment of connection with the neighbor, a sense of literally being held by the wall behind you, a sense of connection with spirit, a sense of connection with land. And learning to just rest in that so that we're allowing our entire minds and bodies to remember, to be imprinted, and almost to help us more sustainably kind of move from that sense of relationality or connectedness. And that's kind of just one doorway into some relational practice.
Great. After this workshop is over, what do you hope participants take away with them?
Yeah, so after this workshop, I think the hope is that participants will feel a deeper sense of confidence in their ability to do this kind of relational tending that is such an important part of the work, and also really deepen in that capacity to be able to, as Brooke was mentioned, be present to the suffering, the hard things, right? But also be able to prioritize care, be able to invest in healing in the ways that are needed, and to also be able to open up to the new possibilities that are there. I think sometimes we can become overwhelmed by the challenges that we face or the seeming impossibilities that are present. So for people to really be able to have a sense of hope and confidence in their ability to explore new possibilities, and to do that while centering and tending to relationships. I think what's alive here is just the times that we are in, really highlighting how important it is that we really be able to do this work in a way that does center relationships and has the capacity to care for our relationships in a meaningful way. And really this kind of orientation for the sake of all is something that's so needed right now. So just really looking forward to the opportunity to be able to explore this with participants and to really dive into this as a community.